Hey everyone, welcome to Business Insider. This is Sri Ramaya. You're watching the first ever edition of Simply Put in 2022. People have been pushing for reduced use of fossil fuels like crude oil and coal and increased use of renewable energy solutions like solar and wind for quite some time now. It's not an online fad anymore. It's something where serious money is getting invested into. And one of them who's putting some big bucks into the space is one of Asia's richest men, Mukesh Ambani. And not surprisingly, he wants to be the biggest player in this space too. We all know that the government is going to push all of us to use a lot more renewable energy sources like solar and wind. And that means that a lot of production capacity has to be built. And it is expected that by March 2026, India's renewable energy production capacity would have doubled. And based on the targets so far, India is likely to add more solar and wind power capacity than even the US, the world's largest economy. Europe will add much more than US and India. And even electric vehicles are going to get very popular in the next decade or so, and which means their production capacity, the amount of electric cars and electric two-wheelers, etc., that have to be produced in India is going to grow many, many times over. And that is why Mukesh Ambani has decided that his company, Reliance Industries, is going to invest 75,000 crore rupees into what he calls new energy segments, which is basically solar, wind, production of grid solutions, batteries, and hydrogen fuel. One estimate says that of all the top energy companies in the world, Reliance is spending the maximum amount of its investments dedicated to green energy. But it's not like Ambani is going to create a electricity distribution company and sell power directly to you. Or he's not going to set up a manufacturing plant for electric cars or electric two-wheelers and sell directly to you. There are other ways of making money off any trend. As Saurabh Mukherjee explained on Business Insider once,
the way to think about technology, the way we think about technology is we're not so much interested in going to California. If you sort of put it in the Californian gold rush context, we're not going to California to dig for gold. Our job is to sell the overalls and the boots and the spades.
So Ambani is going for something similar. In a recent report, analysts at Goldman Sachs described him as a greenabler, which means that he's not going to come and set up a solar power installation at your house. Instead, he will probably be selling polysilicon wafers, cells and panels, and he could be selling it to any company that you would be buying your electricity from. It could be Tata, Adani, or any company who you pay your bills to. It is possible that Ambani is offering them one kind of service or another and making money out of nearly, a big part of any renewable energy consumption in this country. Similarly, he's not going to make electric vehicles, but he will make batteries and storage solutions, etc., which means you could be buying your electric vehicles from any company, Ola, Ather, Mahindra, whoever, but it's possible that Ambani could be making some money out of that by offering these services. Now, what can we learn from this? If you're a long-term investor looking for the next big theme, from where you can make those big bucks and retire early, here's what you can do. Take a leaf out of Ambani's playbook. Look at companies where Ambani or Reliance has invested in, and some of them are available for trading on stock exchanges. They are listed there, and therefore you could also put in your money there and get at least one part of the growth that Ambani is eyeing for. Similarly, it's not just Reliance as the only player that's looking at new energy segments. There are other companies that have already made some progress. Those are some of the companies that Ambani has invested in, but there are others as well. So those are some of those investments that you could look at. Any one or more of these companies could become giants in their own right by delivering the spectacular growth that is expected of them. Or if they do well at some time in the middle of their journey, other big companies like Reliance or anybody else could come and buy them out. Either which way, if you are an investor right now, you could be making money off that. You could get a share of that big growth and that big profit that is likely to emerge out of this. But it's not just enough to think like an investor. Even if you are a student or an early career professional who's wondering where you're going to be 5 to 10 years from now, which is that high growth sector where the salaries are going to be high and it's going to boom a decade from now, and what are the skills that you need to have to be relevant in that era? When those skills are going to be in demand, can you pick it up right now? And I think that's a good way of investing in yourself as well. And you should think about it. Again, even for those decisions, you should look at where some of these big millionaires and billionaires are putting their money in, where is the growth that they expect. And it is quite helpful to place yourself and take yourself in that direction and place yourself in a position where you can demand those high salaries. So that's all on Simply Put this week. We'll be back next week again with another interesting explainer on some of the most hottest topics. Stay tuned to Business Insider. This is Sri Rama here signing off.